You guys, hope you're all having a good day today. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while. It is obviously freezing and snowing here in Spokane, Washington. It is 16 degrees right now, so try and get some motivation to work on the car. What better time than the middle of winter, right? So today we're going to be installing this rear bash bar on the 240. Should be pretty simple. The other really big update too is everything from here on, you guys will see, is filmed on my new Sony camera, which is the A7S III. Got a couple big upgrades to do to the car before spring. Throwing this rear bash bar on the car, it'll help gain access to jacking up the rear of the car a lot easier than it is right now. The jack point hangs probably 5 inches off the ground as opposed to like a ½ inch to an inch. The other thing that we're going to try to get done as well today is I have this catch can set up from ISR that we're going to be throwing on the car. I had to get some hose and some clamps and stuff, so we'll be throwing that on the car as well too. That should be a pretty quick and simple install there. And yeah, so everything you guys will see will be on this camera from here on. Let's get right into the bash bar install. Let's get that rear bumper off, and then it should be pretty straightforward. I knew working on my car in 16-degree weather was gonna be a horrible idea. So what happened there was these clips. These clips are like a to take off, and you have to lift this up and then slide them out. But those we're getting pinched and pulled super tight underneath this guy, and so I had to shove my fingers under there and try to undo them. To get access to these, I had to move the battery box and kind of remove some of these plastics in the trunk so that I could get an extension on there. But basically I got some new hardware, and there is two for me. They are 15mm nuts or bolts, and then there is two right there. We'll go ahead and tighten those up, and then we'll see how it looks. All right, we got the bash bar on, looks good. That jack point is gonna be super nice to have while jacking up the rear end of the car. Next, we're gonna get all this interior stuff back to the way it was, get the battery put back and screwed down and fastened in place, get this access panel back there, all the trim back where it needs to be, and then we will work on the front of the car doing the catch can. So I'm using the mounts on the chassis for the bash bar, so I won't be needing these anymore. With that being said, the stock crash bar will no longer be in use. So I think what I'm gonna do is screw the KBD bumper into that center garnish right underneath the taillights, and it should hug up just fine, and then use some zip ties on the side, and the bash bar will do the rest. So because of storage purposes, because I'm clearly running out of room in here, we are going to separate the stock crash bar and the KVD bumper. That way I should be able to put the KVD bumper up over here and then put the crash bar somewhere else. Now that we got the bumper separated from the stock crash bar, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the oil catch can. I got this one from Enjuku Racing, just the universal ISR catch can. So I ended up actually posting on a forum. The whole reason why I'm doing this whole catch can setup is because I used to have this breather cone filter right on this side of the T. And people were saying that that was like basically a massive vacuum leak. All right, so the plan is to get the longer hose from that outlet to the back of the T here, from where the old air oil separator can used to be. We'll run the other side of the T to the catch can, and then from the catch can going to the air intake. So I have that Apexi air intake right there that has a hose outlet on the side of it. This one does not, so we're gonna throw that one on. To my limited understanding of the catch can setups, basically installing it traps junk in the catch can and doesn't allow it to recirculate back into the intake system of the engine. The only trade-off with that is that you're gonna have to manually empty the catch can of all the blow-by rather than being burnt off by the engine, because obviously you don't really want oil coating your intake. I'll have to figure out how I want to mount this. I think I'm gonna have it down here, something like this, because that's kind of the only place I can put it. I think that probably makes more sense due to having to empty this out every so often. First thing that I'm gonna do is take this 5/8 inner diameter hose, going from the T to the catch can. These barbed fittings here are actually one step, like one size underneath, because that's way too loose. So I have some of this hose as well. This is the correct size for these fittings, but this size hose is not the correct size for the T on the valve cover. So I'm gonna have to do a step up at some point. Basically, it's gonna go from this size to this size hose up to this size hose. So what I am doing here is running from the front end, from the front of the T. I'm gonna go ahead and run it to the catch can. Somewhere under here, I'm gonna hide the step down to the smaller diameter hose. So after I get the step down mounted to the catch can, we're gonna cut the other one that goes over to the air intake inlet, and then I will show you guys kind of where we're at from there. So now that we have the transition pieces in place here and the catch can like roughly mounted, there's some slack. We have the first hose routed, second hose route's here, but it needs to go to the air intake, that port right there. So we need to switch that filter out for this one. There we go. There is the old filter with the MAF on it. So we're gonna have to take this off here and convert it to the old setup. A little bit of an update here. We got both hoses routed to the catch can, and then we just recently got this one routed to the air intake. That is like a super close fit, so might have to figure out a better way to route that because it is getting a little bit pinched there. But I am gonna be messing with this hot side, so I don't have everything tightened up yet. And now the only thing that's left to do for the catch can install is just to route a hose from the back of the T on the valve cover to the port on the block. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. I think as is, the vacuum leak should be gone. I don't think that this is gonna be permanent, but like I said, I am gonna have the hot side out pretty shortly anyway, so I'll try to mess with the angles and try to see if I can free up some slack on the line that goes to the intake. That's gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. We got the rear bash bar installed. We got the catch can installed. I'm gonna mess with the clocking and orientation of that intake. Like I said, we're gonna be ripping that whole hot side out again, because in the next video that you guys see, we're gonna be throwing this on the car as well. This is the Garrett GT 2871R from the S15 SR20, the S15 Spec R Turbo. It should have the exact same oil and coolant lines. It should bolt right up. I don't need to go top mount. I also have 740cc Nismo injectors, bigger fuel pump, ARP head studs, all that good stuff. In the next video, you guys are gonna see me throwing this on the car, ripping out that whole hot side and test fitting that, getting the car all ready to be tuned. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you later.